Be the Talk, episode 160, featuring Katie Nall. Welcome to Be the Talk. We go behind the talk 7 days a week for tips and techniques to help you change the world. I'm Nathan Eckel, and a talker myself. I'm interviewing others who change the world with their talk. You can too, even if you've never given a talk before. Let's get started with today's show. We are live with Dr. Katie Nall. Katie, are you ready to talk?
I am so ready to talk and to be the talk for you, Nathan.
Dr. Katie Nall is a certified practitioner in emotional freedom technique, EFT, or otherwise known as tapping. Dr. Nall discovered this solution to help her students with fear, worry, and anxiety about college-level math classes while she herself was earning her Ph.D. in mathematics education from Florida Institute of Technology. Dr. Nall, welcome to the talk.
Oh, Nathan, it's such an honor, and I'm so thrilled to be selected to talk with you.
Well, and I you step forward. I appreciate that, and it's because you gave an outstanding TEDx Ocala talk, which is called A Technique to Eliminate Math Anxiety. So please take us behind the talk. But before you do, in my own defense, I want you to know that my favorite Muppet on Sesame Street was the Count, just so you know.
Yeah, mine too, right? Oh, Nathan, I love the Count. Well, what I found, Nathan, is that not everybody enjoys math like I do. I mean, math is beautiful. It's just filled with patterns and algorithms, and it's within us every day in art, in nature, and in music, everywhere. Not everybody agrees, sadly. Not only do they not agree, but they don't want to learn math, which I could never figure it out. But it turns out that they don't want to learn math because someone sometime told them one or two things, and sometimes both, that math was difficult and that they couldn't learn it. And what I wanted to find out is a way to help them overcome that so that they could learn math, especially the college students. A lot of them need math to graduate. And these were students who did great in every other subject, but it came to math and they didn't want to have anything to do with it. So I looked and looked and looked, couldn't find anything until I found my way into tapping about 8 years ago. And when I started tapping and trying this out on students, the students came back and said, oh my gosh, I can't believe it. I've never done so well in math. So now I work with college students, high school students, parents, adults who are trying to overcome fears and anxieties about math and other things in general.
Katie, if you can just introduce us, in case there's some people, I know there are a few people that aren't actually familiar with tapping. So can you take about 20 seconds, just give us a really bird's eye view on what it is and why it works? Well,
I would like to tell you why it works, but because I don't know how my car works or how the internet works, I'm not quite sure how tapping works either.
Okay.
However, it is based on the traditional Chinese medicine version of meridians that are flowing through our body. And it's based on the fact that there are blockages in our energy systems that causes adverse reactions. So the tapping itself is a pretty easy technique. You start with the top of the head and the crown of the head, and then on the edge of your eyebrow. You can use your right hand or your left hand or either hand, Nathan. And then on the side of the eye, and then under the eye, under the nose, under the lips, and then on your chest. And you can use one hand if you spread that, and then about 4 inches under your arm. And you do this while you're repeating certain phrases. Nathan, I got to tell you a quick story. So my husband was my first guinea pig on tapping. And I said, okay, so what's your most negative emotion? He got so mad, Nathan. He's like, for 35 years, you've been telling me to be positive, and now you want me to tell you to be negative? And I said, being positive has not worked out. Let's try this negative.
Have a little purging there, getting real.
That's exactly right. Yeah.
My word.
So, yeah, you start saying the negative because, if you don't say it, it's like just gets pushed down and pushed down. And so saying the negative while you're doing the tapping with a couple of other key phrases, then it eliminates it and it breaks up that blockage so that you can actually concentrate on things like math. I have a little example that I use sometimes where we have energy. I don't know if you can see this, but when I connect this, it makes a sound and it makes a light. And when I disconnect it, my body's not conducting energy. And that's kind of the way the blockages go in our body.
Okay, so I got to unpack that because this is an audio podcast. I'm going to try to back up and describe what you just did, and I'm not really sure what it was. So you're holding up a tube, a colorful tube, and I think the idea is when the energy circuit is closed, it makes that wonderful sound that we're hearing, right?
And the lights light up as well.
Okay.
So the point of it is that our bodies do conduct energy, and that the way you can tell it is through this little energy stick.
Okay. Well, I learned about that principle at my favorite museum as a kid here in Philadelphia. It's called the Franklin Institute. And there are all kinds of little energy circuit connectors that you can do like that. But I've never seen whatever that happy, magic, colorful wand stick was that you just pulled out there. Hey, everybody, Talk Universe, I'm going to have to put a link. I've never done this before. I'm going to have to put a link to our YouTube, hosted, Facebook Live in case you want to see what that thing actually looked like. Fair enough?
That sounds great. That sounds great.
Well, and I must say this and you couldn't hear this or you couldn't see this or hear this because I didn't whack myself loud enough I was doing the tapping along with Katie. So I was doing the tapping and it actually feels very nice. I think I might have just found a really nice mindful practice when I'm interviewing people on or off videos. So, go figure. So,
and it does help people relax. Well, you'll see me driving around town when you're down in South Florida, and I'm that person that pulls out right in front of you.
Yep.
Well, I've got my hand up on my head. And another hand on the steering wheel, and I'm tapping on my eyebrow and on the side of my eye all the way through so I can kind of bring my emotions back under control. And that's the whole purpose.
There you go, Talk Universe. Instead of sticking a couple of fingers in the air and not tapping anything, and certainly like a pinky finger or maybe a pointer finger is what I would be referring to there, you can be tapping yourself and calming down and just saving your own power and your own energy. We're keeping it real with Dr. Katie Nall. And actually, in a moment, we're going to be back with her, and we are going to enter into the Blitz round. Can't wait. People ask, how could I start a 7-day-a-week podcast? It's because of what I've learned from my mentors. Some of the best mentors in history aren't around anymore. They've left hours of one-on-one mentoring behind in their books. Each month at Classics on Tap, I record a new chapter from a classic business book to help you make a difference. Download your first chapter at classicsontap.com. And we're back with Katie Nall. It is time for the Blitz Round. This is the part of the show where I ask Katie Nall a couple of either or questions related to the preparation and the performance of her recent TEDx Ocala talk. Katie, are you ready?
I'm ready, Nathan. Bring it on.
All right, we're going to bring it on. Question number 1, were you selected to speak or did you apply?
I was selected. It was a competitive process, and I had to present a video. And the video that I presented was way different than the actual talk that I gave, which I was kind of surprised. But I had coaches along the way that helped me with that.
Oh, that's very, so, tell us a little bit more. So you submitted one video and they told you to talk about a totally different topic?
Well, actually, the one video was about tapping, but it was from a different perspective. And so once I just was selected, and I was honored because it was very competitive. In fact, Nathan, a friend of mine and I both applied at the same time. And I thought, oh, my gosh, I hope both of us get it because what am I going to do, right?
Oh, yeah, that's a tough one.
Oh, that was tough.
Oh.
But we both got it. And
all right.
So it was great because we were able to bounce ideas off of one another, which was very, very helpful. But once I gave after I gave the promotional video, which was a 2-minute short video, and then I filled out a very detailed form, I had to wait a few weeks, and then I got the invitation, which I was thrilled with. And then the work began. And I thought, oh my gosh, what did I do, Nathan?
Yeah, welcome to the club.
Exactly.
And welcome Talk Universe to the club very soon. So here's my next question. Are you a memorizer, an improviser, or a blender?
Yes, I'm a blender. I did have an excellent talk, pieces of which you will see on my TEDx video, all in the wrong order.
Oh,
Somehow I got them all out. And my husband, who was in my audience, and my friend who was there with me, knew that I think they were kind of on the edge of the seat saying, I wonder if she's going to remember this. I wonder if it's going to happen. But it all came out very well. And for people who didn't know what the original talk was about, you wouldn't be able to tell.
Yeah, I certainly couldn't tell. I mean, you came out with your story and then, went to one thing after another and whatnot. Would you prepare for your next, if there is a next branded talk for you, Katie, would you prepare for it the same way as you did, or what would you change next time, if anything?
Actually, Nathan, I'm a professional speaker and a member of the National Speakers Association, so I give talks all the time. But, a TEDx talk was totally different. And I do usually get an outline of what I want to present, and I make sure I weave in my stories. I make sure I have the correct data, and I just put them in the right place. So I'd probably do about the same thing.
Okay. Well, and you walked out there and it's a performance. So did you have nerves, or were you in the zone, or neither, or both?
I actually didn't think I had any nerves because, of course, I've been tapping all day, right?
Oh, yeah. You're gonna tap, tap, tap. This is the tapper I'm talking to.
I was tapping all day long, and I didn't think I had any nerves until I got all finished. And as soon as I got off stage, the people in the front row saw the soles of my feet as I fell over, just out of complete panic and exhaustion. And of course, they're trying to get the mic off of me for the next speaker. So people are grabbing around and throwing my clothes around just to get the mic off of me. All
right. We're walking this back, Talk Universe. Okay, so you did. This is a first. Okay, there are always occasional firsts. Yeah. As we're, I think we should be probably north of 150 talks and episodes released by the time this one comes out. This is a first. Okay, this is a first. So did I hear that correct? So you went out, you've been tapping, it works. You give the entire talk, and then you turn around and walk off stage to give the next person their shot, and then the nerves kick in and they knock you over. I shouldn't be laughing. That's not nice to laugh. It's not nice to laugh.
No, it was hysterical, Nathan. It was absolutely hysterical. And the people in the front row could see the bottoms of my feet. So when they came around to talk to me, the first question was, oh my gosh, are you okay? I'm like, of course I'm okay. What are you talking about?
All right. I've got to dig in some more. So, I mean, was it like did it just your knees buckle, or is that what happened? Okay.
Yeah. My knees buckled. I fell over, and I didn't even think about the microphone, right? And so I had a little jacket on. So they're peeling the jacket off, trying to dig into my dress.
They bring the jaws of life out while they were at it.
To get the microphone out so that the next person could get mic'd up. And I'm like, okay, I'm fine now.
Oh my gosh. Well, hey, car talk listeners. Oh, is this? I'm switching shows here. This is Be the Talk, not NPR's old car talk, but we're having a really good time at Dr. Katie's expense here. Oh my gosh. I love this because that is what you feel normally when it comes on you. You have knocky knees, but you stymied off the willies until it was over, and then it came after you. Like a bad case of food poisoning or something, right at the boom, right at the end. I've never heard of this before.
Yeah, me neither.
Oh my gosh,
yeah, as my husband says, I don't do anything the easy way, so
Well, congratulations on that. I mean, the tapping works, folks. I mean that's what I'm taking from this. When next time I have a panic attack, I'm gonna just start tapping and then get into a nice safe place after, and then stop tapping and lay down and wait for it to come and get me. Oh my word. Okay. Other than tapping, what's a tip, technique, or a tool that helped you?
There's a great book called Made to Stick by Chip Heath and Dan Heath.
Yeah, great book.
fabulous principles here. So for you TEDx, those want to be TEDx speakers, I would suggest you run right out and get this book. It's called Made to Stick, and you'll find it because it's an orange cover with actually duct tape on the front of it. The subtitle is Why Some Ideas Survive and Others Die. Fabulous book.
Absolutely. Last question for you, Katie. This is the cut for time question. So what was the most painful part that you had to cut out of your talk?
Oh, gosh. Truthfully, Nathan, I had too much stuff to cut out because I really wanted people to understand so much more about tapping. And because you only have 12 minutes, I had to abbreviate everything. And I'll tell you, one of the things that was really painful is that tapping, like so many other things, can be good, and it can also have a negative effect. And I wasn't able to add in so much about be careful about using tapping when you're trying to work with traumatic events, because you can go right back into that trauma. And that's something that a lot of people are not aware of.
So it's a kind of almost like a subconscious thing when you are tapping, and that can trigger things. I'm sorry. You know, I'm going to ask whether falling over when you're exiting an amazing TEDx talk that you completely crushed, does that qualify for you, or is that something else?
That probably could be.
So actually, just to be really clear about that. So what context, give me a context in which we should be careful about that, just so that we're a little bit more aware and mindful.
In terms of the tapping.
Yeah.
I would suggest that if people want to use tapping for small anxieties, for phobias, for, getting through traffic, tapping's fabulous. If you are going through a life-changing event, which could be a divorce, it could be preparing for a high-stakes exam like an SAT, ACT, GMAT, GRE, or if you've had a recent death of a loved one or even a pet, you might want to consider working with a certified practitioner who knows how to work you through that safely. So that you're not re-traumatized all over again.
Okay, well, good to know. And I'm just going to use this opportunity to say that neither I nor Be the Talk podcast is in any way a certified practitioner, nor do we necessarily endorse or not endorse this. Please see a certified person if you're going to try this out. And this is the official legalese on that on there. Final question for you, Katie. I mean, it's a performance. So you've already answered this question, but not including, what happened at the end. What was the most unexpected, strange, or just plain weird thing besides that with the capital T that happened during or right before your talk?
What surprised me the most is that when I spoke to small groups, they were people I knew or friends. And when I did the practice part where I had them actually physically tapping and repeating the phrases after me, they, of course, chimed along. But I had no idea if an auditorium full of 500 people would do the same thing or not. So when they all started tapping along with me and repeating the words after me, I was really taken aback. And I had to regroup a little bit, and I was very excited because I didn't expect this. And there were a couple of places they laughed that I didn't expect. So it was good to do all the practice I did.
I love it, and congratulations. We've been enjoying this extra enjoyable, I'll just put it that way, episode with Dr. Katie Nall. And if you want to check out a little bit of her talk, you got to see. I'm looking at this talk again, see what I can see. She gave a talk, and that talk is called A Technique to Eliminate Math Anxiety. And you can also see that by going to our website for show notes. It's called bethetalk.com, or you can just type that into YouTube, as well as you can find out how to connect to Dr. Katie in that show notes page. Her website is nalledgeco.com, nalledgeco.com. We'll have a link right there as well. And in a moment, we will be right back with Dr. Katie Nall's final word of advice to you, Talk Universe. Everyone wants to change the world, but not everyone knows the first step. Before you can change the world with your talk, it has to be selected. So grab the templates, timelines, and tools that I use to get my talk selected at bethetalk.com. And we're right back with Dr. Katie Nall. It's time for the final word of advice for Talk Universe.
Nathan, for your listeners out there who have an important message to share. For instance, I really wanted people to know about tapping, and I really wanted people to be successful in math. If you have an important message to share, tap away your fears, tap away your anxieties, and get out there and apply to a TEDx and make it happen.
Dr. Katie Nall, thanks so much for coming on the talk today and sharing your wisdom with Talk Universe.
Thanks, Nathan.
Thanks for listening to Be the Talk. For tips and resources to help you change the world, go to bethetalk.com. See you tomorrow.